Hey there, folks. This is Sinus with the Hanabi variant of the day. I believe this is number 7. And we're going to be playing with the brown suit this time. And this is one of my favorite variants. So, brown cards are not touched by number clues, they are only touched by the color clue brown, which can make it a little bit interesting to get them, particularly because um, you can't save with 5 or 2 like we normally do, so we have to get a little bit creative sometimes. And whenever we get a brown clue on chop, we assume that it is a save clue of some type, and we resolve it from there. But we're also going to be playing 4 suits this time, which ups the difficulty slightly. It requires a slightly higher efficiency. Anyway, here we go. So this brown clue looks like save either brown 2 or brown 5, but Yagami immediately follows it up with a second brown clue. And so this is called a brown tempo clue, and it has very specific function in brown games. Whenever a second brown clue is given that touches no additional cards, which of course that is the case on turn 2 here, that calls for the rightmost card to be played. So Sinus responds with brown 1. Let's see, Kyle gives a 5 stall. And Yagami gives blue here, which is kind of funky. Normally this is, this would be really great for Sinus to give red here, right? And to bluff this out. So it seemed weird that Yagami would not go for brown 2 here and set that up. But there's not quite enough evidence, I don't think, to suggest that Sinus has brown 2 yet. So Sinus is going to stall. Blue 1 plays. Okay, now that Yagami has discard and deliberately ignored this brown 2, Sinus is confident that they have brown 2, and it plays. This is a 2 save. And interestingly, this is a self bluff on Sinus, correct? So this is a 3 clue, and there are no 3s available, no playable 3s. And remember that brown cannot be given as a number clue. So when I look at the empathy on these cards, it being given a 3 clue indicates automatically that they are not brown. So this must be calling on Sinus to blind play their finesse position as a bluff. That brown 2 expectedly discards. This is kind of neat. Yagami actually had elimination notes for green 1. They knew they had a green 1 in their hand, but it got bluffed out of Sinus's hand, so no worries there. So these brown 3s are kind of interesting. We have to wait until one of them discards, and then we could clue brown in order to save a critical brown 3, and then we'd have to clue it again in order to get it to play, right? So not only would we have to wait, we would have to use 2 clues in order to get it to play, or wait for it to be finessable or something like that. But instead, Sinus sees that we can give what's called an unknown trash discharge. So this appears, from Yagami's perspective, to potentially be brown 3, which, funnily enough, it cannot be. And so Kyle is going to play their discharge slot. If Kyle plays their finesse slot, then this just looks like a bluff on brown 4. And it's clearly not a brown 4, it's trash. And so to indicate that it's trash, Kyle has to play a discharge position, which they do, and this becomes known trash. And what's nice about this discharge is that it gives trash and protects these 2 cards a little bit. So let's see, Sinus is going to give green 2, and this was kind of a tough part of the game. So brown 5 calls for brown 4. That works. So I had contemplated on this turn, I still want to save both of these cards. I had contemplated giving Yagami this 2's clue, and what would happen is Kyle would play, and Yagami would say, oh, well, this is red 2 for sure, so this is probably blue 2. And when it misplays, Yagami will know, oh, these 2 cards must have been really important for Sinus to give a mistake like that. But Sinus decides to play brown 5 instead, and the problem here is that this could be either green or blue, and so Kyle can't necessarily give this 2 clue. I'll tell you what Kyle can do that came up after the game, which is kind of hilarious. Because this green 3 is my leftmost 3, Yagami can give, or sorry, Kyle can give green to Yagami. Happens. Oh, I guess maybe this still doesn't work. I think this loses blue still. But this will cause this card to play. Yeah, this is just a mess. And then we would have to fix this. So there's not a super good way other than getting this 2 to bomb, I think. It could work, but it's really convoluted. So we lose green 4. And Yagami is going to assume that because green 3 was visible, that green 4 would have been gotten, and so they think that one of these 2 cards is green 4. So Sinus should not play this as green 3. This is a mistake. I had some indication from earlier that this is probably red, given that Kyle gave the clue with a touched green card in their hand, or something like that. And so this is very, very likely to be red, but it's still could not know that this was could not really truly know the order of these 2. This calls for blue 2, and so Yagami, seeing this, believes that, oh, this card must be a playable green 4 because nobody got this one. So Sinus is pretty spooked now because that looks like playing from here. What even happened? Is this truly a finesse? Sinus doesn't know. So they're going to take a pause and give red. And Kyle's going to say, no, you were right. It was a finesse. It's just something weird happened there. Okay, so plays red 1, plays blue 2. And then this looks like red or green 4, but because that red 2 played as green 4 from elimination, Sinus should be reasonably confident that this is red 4 at this point. Go. Plays. So Sinus has no idea what this card is. This could be, well, I have some idea. It's a 4. But it's likely either green 4 or blue 4 based on the information that I have. And so I see that I would really like this card to get played sooner rather than later. And best case scenario, this is green 4, and I don't do any duplication by giving this clue. But even if I dupe it, it's fine. I have another guaranteed playable card over here, and we'll figure it out from there. So this gets blue 5 played a little bit sooner, and gets things going a little bit quicker. And then Sinus sees, oh, well, this must be red 4 then. And Kyle can just go ahead and get that. And we just play our cards, and we win. So really fun variant. I really enjoy brown because of the tempo clues. the tempo clue inversion. And generally speaking, whenever you play with a brown deck, prioritizing brown is the top thing, right? So they definitely want to get this stuff clued and get it out of my hand as quickly as possible, because if Sinus draws another brown card, this becomes extremely difficult to get out of my hand. And in fact, that's exactly what happened. So it's really good that that was gotten early. So another thing in addition to knowing those is that you generally have to try and get them played sooner rather than later. There are also loaded play clues, which we didn't get to see here, but hypothetically, um, this Sinus's card, say Sinus had a 1 here, and Sinus was given a 1, and then Yagami gave Sinus a brown card. So this is called a loaded play clue. Because Sinus already has a playable blue 1 here, giving this clue, this brown clue, normally would indicate that it's a brown 2 or a brown 5. But because Sinus has a play already, this is a play clue and not a save clue whenever it is given with known trash or given with a playable card. And so Sinus would know that this is not a save whenever they have another play or a known discard. And so loaded play clues can be really powerful in certain variants as well. But that's it for this one, and I think we're all caught up on videos, so enjoy that one. I think we've got something pretty angry coming up. I think it's cow and pig tomorrow, and things with no positive clues are very difficult. Anyway, hope you're enjoying the series. I think we're through about a week of them now, and still going strong. I hope to keep making more of these. See you in the next one.